All right, my next project that I'm doing with my students is called Repetitive Line Designs, and we are using this compliments of Juliana Kunstler, who is a wonderful art teacher who has posted amazing resources like this online, and it has been my lifesaver during this pandemic. So we are drawing lines that repeat around a shape, and we are going to break up a square with other lines just like this. A quick little overview. Love this idea. So a diagonal line taking up the corner, a diagonal line coming out of it, and a curve going to the edge of the shape. From these three lines we created some shapes, and we are going to draw lines repeating in them. My goal for this one is to keep my lines closer together, keeping my hand nice and steady, instead of farther apart. The distance has to be the same between all of the lines. When the lines are farther apart, it doesn't look as neat and as clean. When they're closer together, like in this top example, you can see that they are, well, you can't see all my mistakes because there's so many of them. So I'm going to start going, I'm going to do this basic line design again because this was like step number 1. And I have it done in different colors here so that my students can see that these shapes that I drew broke down into different sections. So we are using a new sheet of paper, and I was telling my students to draw 6 squares. And one of my recommendations for them was to trace something using like their ID. Doesn't have to be a perfect square. Or you could do a circle. I said to my kids, you can either draw 6 squares or 6 circles for this project. So the first step by step 1 that was on canvas was that I started to do a little bit ago was to draw a line through the top corner of this, and then to do a diagonal line coming out from that shape, not crossing over, to the end of my original square, drawing a curve. All right, I'm doing this from left to right because that is how we read. So that's how I draw sometimes. I go from the edge of the triangle to the edge of the triangle. And now I'm going from the edge of my first line to the edge of the triangle. And from the edge of my first line to the edge of my second line. My lines are not crossing over. They are even, as straight as I can be without using a ruler. It's okay if yours get a little bit wonky. This is for practicing steadiness with your fine motor skills, for doing little lines. The shorter the distance, the straighter your line is going to be because you have less of an area to mess up in. The longer the line, the more chances you have for it to get wavering. I usually rotate my paper as I draw. I'm trying to keep it kind of steady for this. The lines don't crisscross over each other and they stop evenly. So I'm just going to keep on picking my shapes, and I'm keeping the same pattern going on the left side, the top side, the right side, the bottom, and doing these arches can be kind of challenging for my kids. So I usually stop short with my arch and I try to meet up halfway. And I'm going to finish my other side. This one I had 4 lines, that curve, and I'm trying not to cross over that line. It stops short. Zooming right up next to it. So I'm going to start doing this one a little bit quicker for time's sake. And again, if my lines are farther apart from each other, we're going to have a difference in my pattern, and I want it to be unified. That is one of our principles of design, unification. My lines are parallel. They are not intersecting over each other. When I get here, ooh, kind of stop that line. Messed up in there. Just making sure that it gets as closed as possible. Let me zoom in for these last ones so you can really see what I'm doing. From the edge of the shape to that line. That one was kind of thick. All the way down, trying to go slow and steady to make a straight line all the way down to that shape, the end of this shape. And it's easier to drag the line than it is to pull it sometimes. So right now I'm pushing it forward. Sometimes, oh, see, I crossed over a little bit. My bad. It's okay, it's in pen. It's too late now. I've got to learn to live with my mistakes. These lines are a lot thicker and farther apart than what I was doing, but it ended up looking really cool last time to where I started making them get skinnier and closer together as I got towards the middle, and it made it have a little optical illusion as if it was going into the picture a little bit more. It was like sinking in like a cave, like a vortex. I'm trying to keep them parallel. I'm rushing this. I want my kids to go a little bit slower than me, but I don't want my YouTube video to be an hour long. And I have a class coming in just a little bit over Google Meets. And my students who are struggling with this, send me some pictures and I can help you. We're just going very gentle, trying to get smaller as we go in. All right. Oh, you couldn't see what I was doing. That's my bad. Party foul. Okay. I'm gonna do my curve again. So this is just repeating that line. It's echoing that. I'm not going to keep on going over that curve. I'm gonna go down to the left side. So we are only doing one line at a time on each side. Taking my time, going slow. The other ones we are going to work on making your own designs. On the website link that I shared with you, there are some examples that you can copy, because this is just practice. Oops, that one was thick. That one was crooked. My hands must be getting tired. I did this one with a rainbow pencil, and that was like super fun. You can also do this inside of a circle. That one was neat. And the smaller the box, I think the better it is. Honestly, when we have a really big box, it is hard to do. So I'm going to draw another square. I'm going to go a little bit smaller. Messed up that. I don't care what you do on these, as long as we're using at least 3 lines to make 4 shapes inside of my original square. And we're going to do the same exact thing, going on the bottom, going on the left side, the top. It is a repetitive design. It has a pattern. Just a little bit of the line, that one's getting smaller. So you can come up with whatever design you want. You can have more curves. You can have all curves if you want curvy lines. You can have all angles, all triangles, or you can do all squares. This one evolved into a triangle. We've got to bring that line up higher. So as you notice, the line is coming to an end there. And now this side has a little bit more. You don't always have to go up, down, left, right. You can go down, right, up, left. But in that shape, I need to do the same pattern. So I started on the down side. Oh, that one was a big gap. That's okay. We're practicing. This is a nice little exercise. You gotta be patient with yourself. And then when you see these little mistakes that you do, it'll help you in the future learn how to identify parts on your project that you don't think look right. This is about your spatial awareness. So you are going to do 6 boxes of this project all the way around, keeping it the same steady, repetitive line. And again, thank you to the goddess Juliana Kunstler. Hope you're saying your last name right if you ever watch this. Just want you to know how much I appreciate it. During this remote learning time, trying to keep my lines parallel, even, without crisscrossing over each other. I'm using a pen. Some of my students don't have the best pens at home, so you can use a pencil or a colored pencil. As long as your pencil is sharp, you should be able to get a really good quality project. My students should be able to have all their own supplies when we come back for our hybrid option for you to keep at home. And for those of you who are my students who are watching now, if you're like, dang, Miss Bill, that pen is lit, I need that, then let me know when you want to come pick it up. I'll put it in the front office for you. It'll have your name on it, but you can't lose it. Okay, that was my last one. I wanted to show you the circle ones. Kind of want to just continue one that I already started, so I don't like tire my little self out too quick. I have all curvy lines in this one, so it was just, I'll copy these lines here. I was trying to make it look like baseball. Then I remembered we don't play sports. I'm just gonna put lines right there, just one, because I said only 3 lines are necessary. Now when we have these curves, that is a little bit harder to do. Still stops in that corner. It's hard to keep these ones nice and even. Did you guys remember how a second ago I said you're not going to start another one from scratch? And here I go, starting another one from scratch. These are addicting to do. It has been a lot of fun for me to do these with my students. It's been very peaceful. There are no expectations. It doesn't have to look like anything in particular. This is abstract. I'm not, oh, I messed up that little line. That's okay. I went the wrong way with my curve. I was like, it's hard to talk and draw at the same time, but that's literally all I do. And I know some of y'all do that too. Oh, I gotta go down here. I almost went to the top. So it's the same exact thing as before. Our lines are just curved or straight. Those are your options that you get. Okay, I'm going to stop doing that now. Here's an example of what the curved ones look like. All right. Have a good day. 6 boxes, big or small.